will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base hit. Just as the score of the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is gonna be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is. Goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Rackers roll. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the Pellets. The Giants from the Pellets. The Giants from the Pellets.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them with my faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays there, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right.
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take.
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. Yes, he gets out. Home run.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Ain't in a chance. The Twins are gonna win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, are you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, Howard, thank you very
very much, and welcome to this Monday edition of the program. I am your host, Dan Scott. Good to have you with us as we begin the next hour tour through the world of sports, and going to be spending a lot of time in the Southern Conference, and specifically a lot of time at Furman, because there was some awfully big doings yesterday where the Paladins were concerned, especially in men's basketball. Hope that your day is going well. You'll note that we're in the home studio. I continue to call it the as yet completely finished home studio because it's, well, ironically enough, as yet completely finished. But we're working on it, slow and steady. It's a busy time, as you might imagine, and the reason that I'm home today instead of in the studio over at Furman is because of the weekend travel schedule and just trying to catch a breath a little bit and maybe, quite honestly, in the interest of full disclosure, catch a little nap this afternoon before the final Bob Ritchie show tonight. But for those of you who were listening over the weekend, you know that Friday, Tom Van Hoy and I were in Cullowhee to call the Furman basketball win over the Catamounts. Got home from that probably right around midnight, got up shortly after 6 a.m., hit the road to Raleigh on Saturday morning, called the baseball game, the middle game of the three-game series on our flagship station, Fox Sports 1440, and then drove home from that, got home probably, 10 o'clock or so, maybe a little after that, and then it was up yesterday morning. Tom and I back on the road to Johnson City to call the basketball game against East Tennessee State, which we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about here in a moment. But, man, what a phenomenal day. And it was a long weekend, but a fruitful weekend. Baseball loss aside, I consider myself, as most of you know, I think, to be incredibly lucky and blessed to do something that I've wanted to do since I was a kid. And now we have seen that come to fruition, and weekends like this are kind of a reminder of why exactly I love to do what I do. Highs and lows. You know, it's not all walking in the clouds after wins, but boy, when the big ones come along like they did yesterday, it's that much sweeter. And you know, Tom and I were talking about this on one of the drives. I can't remember which one. Because they all kind of run together. But I appreciate what we're seeing with the Furman men's basketball team now, maybe more than most people do, unless it's Bob Ritchie and his staff inside the program. And what I mean by that is this. I'm in my 14th year of calling Division I athletics, including Division I basketball. I did 7 years of the Clemson women. I'm in my 7th year of Furman men. For the first 11 seasons, and some of you know this, the first 11 seasons, I did not see a winning season of college basketball. And that begins to wear on you after a while, day after day, year after year, game after game, and knowing that you're going out and you're still doing something you love, but every once in a while, you'd like someone to throw you a bone, and you'd like to be able to call some things that matter in the moment late in the season. And thankfully, in the last 3 years, I've been able to do that. And it really goes back beyond that to the end of the season, I guess 4 years ago or 3 years ago now, when this group of seniors were freshmen and made the run in the Southern Conference tournament. That was the glimpse of what was to come, and it's been 3 fantastic seasons after that of 19 wins and then 23 last year, and now 22 this year with still the conference tournament to go and probably some kind of postseason berth regardless of what happens. But that's yet to be determined. So, you know, for that first 11 years, my standard joke, and it's true, I felt like the play-by-play voice of the Washington Generals. And for you younger folks, maybe you don't know who that is. That's the team that the Harlem Globetrotters always beats, and has for 50 years or whatever the case may be. The old Washington Generals They always come up with some players, but they always seem to make the big mistake and fall for all of the same tricks week in and week out, game in and game out. I kind of felt like their broadcaster for a while. So I take great delight in what we're seeing now, and it's been a renaissance really in all of the Furman Athletic Department with the football program and Clay Hendricks' first year last year, what's transpired in basketball the last 3 seasons, Brett Harker's first year in baseball last year that hopefully they're going to be able to build on. It's a fun time to be doing what I do, and I don't take it for granted. And then you have moments like yesterday where the team just goes in and pulls out a victory that I'm not sure a lot of people thought they could get. And we're going to talk about that coming up in just a bit. So it was a long weekend. It was a fun weekend. Hashtag love my job. I've been using that a lot this year, and it's true. I'm very blessed to do what I do. As Tom always says, if life is one giant department store, we work in the toy department. And it doesn't get much better than that. Coming up on the show, we are going to recap yesterday's Furman men's win over East Tennessee State. We'll let you hear post-game radio interviews from both Bob Ritchie and Devin Sibley. And then we'll take a look at the men's bracket for the Southern Conference Tournament this weekend in Asheville. The Paladins, the number 3 seed, and we'll show you all the games and what transpires if you win, where you go to from there. We'll also let you hear from Jackie Carson, the women's coach, a short post-game video after their senior day win and regular season finale over Wofford yesterday. Show you the women's bracket where her team will start. We'll talk about the baseball team's tough weekend up in Raleigh, but better things to come for Brett Harker's club. And, of course, you still have the game tomorrow at South Carolina to get to as well. So we'll talk about all that, and if we have any time left, some news and notes from beyond Furman and the Southern Conference in a weekend wrap-up type of scenario. But first, as is normally the case, we want to remind you as we go to our first break about our friends at the Atlanta Bread Company, located in Cherrydale Plaza, just down the road from campus. They have been so good to us on this program with their sponsorship and taking care of us and helping us get this thing off the ground and sustain it. And I can't thank them enough, and I hope that you will too. It's very important for them and all of our sponsors, folks, maybe more so than ever before, because it's a pretty much a web-based situation now that we're working in. I need you to go in there and tell people that you appreciate what they do and you heard about them here on the show and you're there to eat or to take part in whatever service they have because of the show. And you won't be disappointed at the Atlanta Bread Company. The food is phenomenal. The people are even better. And, again, thank them for what they do for us here on the Dan Scott program. It's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Plaza in Greenville. More about them in this commercial break coming up. We'll step aside for a moment, come back, and we will spend a good deal of time on Furman men's basketball, the win over ETSU, and looking at the upcoming Southern Conference Tournament bracket. All that still ahead on this edition of the show, and we'll be back in just a moment. The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. When the Furman baseball team goes on the road, it travels safely, comfortably, and with the latest technology with Jeans Tours and Charters. Jeans has been a Furman favorite for decades and has serviced Furman baseball for over 20 years. Take it from head coach Brett Harker. Book your next road trip with Jeans. Jeans Tours and Charters, online at jeansbussvc.com or call 864-242-1673. Jeans Tours and Charters, servicing the upstate since 1980.
If
If you've been sidelined by an injury, the St. Francis Sports Medicine team is here 24/7 to get you back on the field. Our highly trained network of physicians, athletic trainers, and physical therapists treat all types of sports-related injuries, even those that don't occur from playing a sport. Call the St. Francis Hurt Line at 675-HU-RT for priority appointments or at-home advice. Again, that's 675-HU-RT.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the U.S. Cellular Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 1st through 5th for the 2018 SoCon Basketball Championships presented by General Shale. Watch your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament, and take part in exciting events like the Downtown Dribble and the Ingles Jam Fest. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the U.S. Cellular Center box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
All right, welcome back. We are basically just getting things underway here on this Monday edition of the program. Kind of rainy outside. It's going to be that way today. What I've seen in the weather forecast, it will break well tomorrow, which will be good for baseball. It'll rain again Wednesday and Thursday, and then it's supposed to be nice all weekend when Brett Harker's Paladins come back to Latham Stadium. And just a reminder that because of the way things broke, man, I couldn't be happier about this, because I love my job. I love every aspect of it. But you know how I feel about the game of baseball. We don't have to miss any baseball games this weekend. It's really incredible how this broke, and we'll go deeper into the bracket in a moment. But Furman, obviously finishing in the top 6 as a number 3 seed, they don't play on Friday, so we'll have baseball on Friday. They play as a number 3 seed at 8:30 on Saturday night, so we'll have baseball at 1 o'clock and basketball at 8:30. And then on Sunday, if Furman wins the opener against Western Carolina and advances to the semifinals, they would play the 6:30 game. Well, normally a 1 o'clock baseball game, even being an hour away, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable in taking the chance in case there was extra innings or just a long game or something like that. But guess what? Central Connecticut State has apparently a plane trip that they have to fly at a certain time. So baseball on Sunday starts at 11:30. So we'll have double duty definitely on Saturday, most likely double duty on Sunday, and then hopefully a championship game on Monday night. But more about all that coming up. First, I need to remind you about our newest sponsor, and that is the good folks at Security Complete. And I was looking, where is my little... Well, it's not on here. How about that? Anyway, Security Complete, locally owned. They are all over the upstate, and the guys you're going to be dealing with have a combined 40 years of industry experience. The systems are customer-owned, no contracts, and they cover everything. Intrusion, fire, carbon monoxide, video. They've got it all. And because of the latest technology and low overhead, it equals more savings for customers, and their monthly monitoring fees are significantly less than the competition. I told you before that I was very happy with who I had as a local company here, and then they were bought out by a bigger company. Service transitioned over, but the first time we had an accidental set off of the alarm and I was on the road, I got a call from an 800 number, and again, I've been getting all these stupid telemarketers calling my cell phone now, which they're not supposed to, but they do anyway. So I saw an 800 number. I just clicked it off. Well, it turned out it was this company. I didn't recognize the number because in the old version of the company, before it was bought out, it came from a local number that I knew. So long story short, the sheriff came out here. My wife was here and had to convince them that she was actually okay and nothing was wrong. So that, kind of irked me a little bit. So now, with Security Complete, I know one of two things are going to happen. If the alarm goes off in an emergency and the call comes, or if it's accidental and a call comes, it's either going to come in and say security complete on the digital readout, or it's going to come from a Charlotte area code, 704. So that's where the monitoring office is. So I know where it's going to come from. I don't have to worry about an 800 number that I'm not going to be familiar with. Security Complete, your source for complete security for your home and business, 864-546-0360. And on Facebook, you can find them by looking up Security Complete and check out their Facebook page. Well, yesterday, again, was a big, big day for Bob Ritchie's club, and it was great to have a front row seat right there on courtside, at least what we could see, and we were so close to the bench that if you listen to the broadcast, every now and again there would be a little pause in the flow of the play-by-play. That's because I was doing this. I'm trying to look around Bob Ritchie as he's marching up and down the sideline as far as they're able to go in the coach's box, or if it was something that happened along the baseline and maybe the team was standing up. I'm stretching and looking over here. But it was a small price to pay for what we saw, and we saw two really, really good teams throw haymaker after haymaker after haymaker at one another, and Furman finally landed the final blow, but it wasn't over until literally the final second of that game. But it was phenomenal. Paladins in the second half had gone up by 8 for the second time in the game. They find themselves down 5. Andrew Brown hits a three-pointer with 3:58 to go to pull them back within 2. Bob Ritchie immediately calls a timeout. They get a stop on the other end and then come down the floor, and of all people, some would say Matt Rafferty hits a 3 that puts Furman up 1. So in those 2 trips, those 2 guys took Furman from down 5 to back up a point. And as the game would play on, they were tied at 71 with about 1:25 to go, I think. And Devin Sibley, who has had some struggles this year, especially since the conference season started, but played one of his better games of the season all around, defense and everything yesterday, hits a 3 from the left wing and gets fouled, and then steps to the line and hits the free throw to complete a 4-point play. That would be the play that would ultimately spark Furman to the win. They would have to hit some free throws down the stretch and missed a couple, including John Davis at the line with 5 seconds to go, up 2. He hits the first one, hits the second one, game is over. He misses the second one. David Burrell rebounds, somehow is able to fire a pass up the floor to Devontavious Payne, who got a great look from the right wing, but the ball went all the way in and came out as the shot clock expired, and Furman, or as the game clock expired rather, and Furman held on for a 79-76 win. First win in Johnson City since 2005. Now, there was obviously a gap when they weren't in the league, but you remember the game there last year that went to overtime late in the season that the Paladins lost, and they were able to get back and get revenge from what happened in Timmons Arena earlier this season when they lost on a shot with 4.5 seconds to go by DeSante Bradford. And I want to say this about DeSante Bradford. I don't know anything about the young man personally, but I do know this. Of all of the transfers and everything else that they've had come into that program, and it raises an eyebrow, and skeptics have things to say about the way Steve Forbes goes about his business, but he does what ETSU allows him to do, and gets him into school, and that's how he puts together his teams. DeSante Bradford was there for 4 years, and in the second half yesterday, that kid put ETSU on his shoulders and almost willed them to a victory. He had 19 points, 17 in the second half, and there was a stretch where Furman just did not have an answer for him. It was an incredible performance by him, but Furman had too many guys making too many plays. Scott Keeler points out that the stop between the 2 big three-pointers I talked about a moment ago was a Rafferty steal, and he had 3 of those in the game. So they had big plays on offense, they had big plays on defense, and as you can imagine, after the game, it was a very exuberant Bob Ritchie who joined us for the post-game radio interview. I'll warn you, the audio on this is a little hot, but you can hear it nonetheless. Here's Bob Ritchie talking to Tom Van Hoy and I after that game yesterday in Johnson City. Oh, mercy. How about that? This is a fun job, isn't it?
Got him over there.
Yep. Coach Bob Ritchie with maybe his briefest post-game locker room talk of his young coaching career.
Wow.
By the way, I think Tom and I both have your handprint on our back. Nicely done, my friend.
Is there an unopened water?
Yeah, I think
right here.
I'm so out of breath.
I got one. Take a break. We were just talking to Coach, just another day at the office, and man, this is a tremendous profession that you're in. The emotion, the ups and downs, the emotion of the moment. But boy, you got to be proud of your basketball team, and we'll get into it. But so many different young men contributed down the stretch.
Tough guys, man. Tough, resilient, just great guys. We talked about it in the locker room beforehand. There was so much on this game for them, and then all we heard about was how they're going to be playing for a championship and senior night, packed house. They hadn't been playing well. It didn't phase our group. It didn't phase our group a bit. And it was a heavyweight boxing match. I mean, it was just blow for blow all night. But I'll tell you what, for the first time in a long time, I saw in two moments when the momentum was going against us, I saw Daniel Fowler go get our whole team, and he huddled them. And one was down there in the first half, and one was right here in the second half. And when you have that connection, and you got that power and resiliency in adversity, this team is good enough to battle through it. And it got us, they got up 5, and Andrew hits the big 3. We called the timeout. They were really, give credit to Bradford. I haven't even seen the stat sheet yet.
He finished with 19, and he had 17 of those in the second half.
But he was phenomenal in the second half, and he's a really, really good player. And they were doing some things to ice on him, and we were able to fortunately make some adjustments. But look, you play in an atmosphere like this, it's not going to be pretty. But I'll tell you what, how about us out rebounding them? Like everybody wants to talk about how finesse we are and how skilled we are and how we shoot it. We out rebounded one of the biggest teams in the league tonight, and that's what everybody has questioned. That we have the toughness and do we have the girth to be able to go out rebound a group like this on their home court, and that's where you see the toughness of this group, and I'm so proud of them.
You talked about the Brown 3 that cut it to 2. You called the timeout. Come back, we get a stop, and then Matt Rafferty hits the 3 that gives us the lead back. That's a big moment because they had reclaimed the momentum, and then you got 2 guys step up and hit just huge shots for you.
You know what I love about that? When he hit it, I was watching the film of our game in Greenville this week, getting ready for this game, and remember he had those 5 wide open 3s, and he didn't hit any of them. And everybody was like, man, he shot too much. Should he be taking all those 3s? And when that thing went in, I said, how about that? How about that? And, it's just, he's so tough. I don't know what else to say. I'm just proud of these guys. They're on a mission. And, we said right after we lost that game to Greensboro at home, we had to change. We had to get back to our identity. We had to get back to who we are. And, man, have they done that. And proud of them.
How about the 4-point play by Devin Sibley?
Yeah, you know what?
He was able to hit that with them. It was tied at that point at 1:25 to go.
We put that in practice last night.
You put the 4-point play in?
No, the action that got it, which, it was just a player making a play.
Yeah.
But, we knew they were going to really try to get to Andrew, and so we wanted to try to find some ways to free him up. And we put that little high flat in for Andrew, and we haven't done that all year. And we scored a couple times off of it tonight, but that was a great find. Devin's wide open, and, man, he played with a lot of confidence tonight. I thought that might have been Devin's best game of the year, to be honest with you, just on both ends. I thought he was locked in both ways and gave us an aggression that I really, really liked.
Yeah, DeSante Bradford, as we saw in the second half, is such a difficult guy to defend. Being left-handed gives him an element that a lot of players don't have, and his ability to use his body and do all the crazy things that he can do. And yet in their last possession before we hit the 2 free throws again that put us back up by 4, you forced him to give the ball up. You were able to do something defensively that took the ball out of his hands.
We had to commit to him, and something that we've worked on, just really, they hit 6 threes in the first half, and I thought we just lost contain on Payne in transition, and Burrell came out smoking, it was his senior night. But so we got, because of the threes, I think it spread our defense out a little bit more than normal. We just had to condense it back in. And look, that's what I told him in the timeout. How many has he passed? Is he passing him yet? He's not passing him. So when he puts it down, he gets to the paint, he starts spinning, just go get it. And Devin did a great job on that one from the backside. He spun right into Devin. And just plays like that, you know, you can't, he's so good, you can't guard him in single coverage a lot. And, man, wasn't necessarily pretty, but I'll tell you what, that was a gutsy performance.
And by the way, they hit 6 threes in the first half. How many did they end the game with? 6
of them. How about that?
Yeah, and speaking of threes, with Andrew Brown doesn't score in the first half for you, and then in the second half he hits 2 back-to-back threes, and your team is a veteran, experienced, pretty, I'd say, relatively even keel, not a whole lot bothers you. Man, he showed the tremendous emotion. You don't see that much out of Andrew Brown, but when he hit that one, that puts you up by 8.
Man, these boys wanted this one. All they've heard about, you know, is how they can't finish. You know, like last year and the year before, we struggled down the stretch, and you know, that's all they talked about all off season. And you know, we wanted to finish the regular season right. We wanted to go into Asheville with some momentum. And, you know, we lost 2 of the last 3 last year, and that left a bad taste going into Asheville. And now we're going to get to go in with some momentum, some real momentum. And, you know, it's 5 in a row. Guys are battling. Guys are believing. Depth is showing up. We're going to go get some rest, but we're ready to get up there.
You may not have known this. I think a couple of your assistants heard me say it, but with about 4 minutes to go in the game, you had clinched 3rd place. Mercer beat Wofford 69-68. Score was 6 seconds ago, and then McGee missed a wide open 3 at the top.
Good for him. He's made enough of it.
Yes, he has. So I thought it was kind of ironic then. Number one, you don't want any help. You want to say you went and won it on your own. But then that 5 seconds, they get the ball down the floor, and all of a sudden Payne has a wide open 3. When that thing went up, did you think we were going to overtime?
You know, I thought he shot it a little bit high, and we ran out of timeouts. Obviously, the conversation is going to be, do you foul there? And I thought with 5 seconds, I wanted to just make sure we switched everything, and I was a little nervous when I saw him advance it that quickly. But when I saw him release it, man, it was high, and then I thought, when it started going, I thought, man, he might actually bank this, and it fell off. So, hey, we had that happen to us in Greenville, so nobody's feeling sorry for him, and we're just proud, man. I mean, that's great with the 3rd place stuff. That's fine, but we're just taking this thing game by game, and 22 wins. You know, it's a testament to these guys and their toughness and how hard they battle. That every year they've shown progression in the regular season from 9 wins to 13 to 19 to 21, now 22. It's just it's a credit to them and just their toughness.
Yeah, and by the way, don't shortchange yourself. This was 6 straight wins for your club heading into the tournament.
My bad.
Yeah, don't shortchange yourself.
Definitely don't want to do that.
Nobody else going to give you anything.
Definitely don't want to do that.
We know what the matchup's going to be now, and you're going to have almost a full week to kind of rest and prepare, but you'll be playing Western Carolina for the 3rd time in the first round at 8:30 on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, Larry Hunter's coached a lot of ball games, so we're not going to take that lightly. And like I said, first thing we had to go do is rest up, and then get back to making sure we're preparing. And let's go get that first one. You know what I mean? I think that was a mistake last year. We just, you know, it was so much about what the overall mission was. Let's go one at a time. You know, let's go one at a time. Let's put everything in this first game, and let's just keep advancing through. And our team's done a great job with that. You know, we didn't talk about ETSU all week. We focused on Western. We went to Collowy, and then the staff did a great job turning the script, putting in a great game plan today. You know, I don't think we necessarily guarded them as well as we wanted to. They made some great plays. We knew we had to score today, and you know, I didn't expect necessarily to score 80 or 79. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what, we were aggressive. We got to the free throw line 28 times, and that was a huge part of the game plan, is to really be aggressive and not be passive. We got really passive in Greenville. So, you know, if last shout, I've said this for a long time. If you're not planning to come to Asheville, please just come. Okay, it's a 1-hour drive at the max. Come up there. Don't take it for granted. Don't say, hey, you know, we'll go to the semis on Sunday and the championship on Monday. Get there Saturday night, and let's have the right purple in that building, and let's get loud, and let's start to bring some tradition to Asheville.
I love it. You got some people who want to celebrate with you, Coach. Good luck. And congratulations again. That is Bob Ritchie. His team wins at 79-76. And that was a very happy and emotional and fired up Bob Ritchie, as you no doubt heard. He was ready. And when I said when he first sat down that I think that both Tom and I had his handprint on our back. The game ends. Payne's shot comes off. They go through the handshake line right in front of us, and then they have to cut through between the bench and right where I'm sitting at the broadcast location to go back to the locker room, which is behind us, and in the kind of the tunnel is in the middle of the stands. And as we were getting ready to go to break, Bob comes through and he says, "How about that?" And he slapped me on the back and he slapped Tom on the back. He was a little bit happy, you might say. It was fun to see. Before we go to break, a couple of things. First of all, let's hear from Devin Sibley. It's a much shorter interview, but he joined us afterwards as well to talk about his performance and his team performance. Here's what the senior had to say.
Here in Johnson City, closed the regular season with 6 consecutive wins, 22 overall, which is one shy of the single-season school record, which they tied last year, and it took a couple of wins in the CIT to do that. Dan Scott, Tom Van Hoy, Pepsi postgame. Devin Sibley, courtside here with us.
What's up,
congratulations,
Hello,
young man.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
17 points for you in this one, 6 rebounds. I believe Bob Ritchie said it might have been your best all-around game of the season, at least in a while, when you throw defense in there as well. It looked like you were locked in on both ends of the floor.
Absolutely. That's how you win championships. That's how you win against great teams like ETSU. You got to play on both sides of the ball.
Take us down the stretch, what this one was like. You had the 8-point lead, you got behind, and you hit that, what turned out to be a 4-point play.
It was just a game of runs, and, when they went on runs, we just all came close together and made sure that we kept our composure. It was nothing special like that. It's just a whole mental game. Every team's going to go on runs is how you respond from it, and we responded pretty well every time they went on a run.
And when we needed an answer, how many different guys stepped up and got the answer for you? Andrew hit a big 3. Rafferty the 3 that gave you the lead. Your 4-point play that broke the tie. I mean, we've got so many guys who can do that, and we got a glimpse of that here this afternoon.
Exactly. We have a team that's just been growing and growing every game, and it's really paying off right now.
As you go down the stretch, won 6 consecutive, feel pretty good about heading to Asheville?
I feel really good about heading to Asheville. It's a lot of momentum going into it, and we got a lot of confidence, especially being pretty much the top team in the league. So we got a lot of confidence going into it.
Does the mentality change at all since this is your last go-around and your teammates with you as well?
No, the mentality doesn't change. We go to work every day, make sure we practice, make sure we get better at all our weaknesses, and make sure we stay sharp going into the tournament.
Give people an idea of what it's like to play here in this atmosphere. Had such a great game here a year ago that went to overtime, and this was another one. The crowd gets into it. I mean, as a visiting team coming in here, you got to love those moments when you can silence an opposing team's crowd.
Exactly, because it stops like their spirit a little bit, especially when you got them going on a run. Everybody, it's a packed house, everybody going crazy. It really helps to shut them up a little bit, get them quiet so you can be able to just concentrate and do your own thing, especially when it gets that loud so you can't really hear anything. So you just got to come closer.
It's amazing how things have changed since your freshman year when you went 11-19, made the great run in Asheville to where the expectations are back-to-back 20-win seasons. It's got to be pretty nice for you guys.
Yeah, really nice for us. We've improved every year, and that's all we wanted to do is just improve every day, every year, every month. Anytime possible we can, we try to improve.
Well, it's been fun, and it ain't over yet, Devin. Congratulations again, my man.
Thank you. See you.
That is Devin Sibley.
And that was Devin Sibley from yesterday, post-game after the 79-76 win over the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. All right, so what does it all mean now? Well, it means that the men's bracket is set. And boy, just think about 2 weeks ago. ETSU seemed to have this entire thing locked up. They were going to be the number 1 seed. They were riding high. And they, since that 16-game winning streak, have lost 3 of their last 4 games, and in doing so, lost the number 1 seed going into the tournament. Greensboro is the number 1 seed for the 2nd consecutive year. It's really a startling turn of events, and 3 of those losses, Scott Keeler called it the Palmetto sweep. They lost to the Citadel, they lost to Wofford, and then lost yesterday to Furman. So here's what the men's bracket looks like. On Friday, the play-in games, if you will, 5 p.m., Citadel and VMI, the 8-9 game, and then at 7:30, the 7-10 game, Samford and Chattanooga. How about Chattanooga finishing at the bottom of the standings this season? And then on Saturday, Game 3 of the tournament, and this is the big day, man. This is what Bob's talking about. You want to get tickets, and you want to go be in attendance and watch 4 really, really good basketball games. UNCG will play the winner of the Citadel VMI at noon. At 2:30 p.m., Mercer and Wofford in the 4-5 game. At 5 o'clock, ETSU plays the winner of Samford and Chattanooga. That's at 6 p.m. And at Game 6, it's number 3 Furman and number 6 Western Carolina at 8:30. The winners of Game 3 and Game 4 will play the semifinals at 4 o'clock on Sunday, and the Game 5 and Game 6 winners will play the other semifinal. That says 6 o'clock. It should say 6:30. And then the championship game will be televised live on ESPN2 at 9 o'clock on Monday night. So that is what your bracket looks like, your game times and schedules, and that will set us up for what we think is going to be a big, big weekend. And look, that Saturday, this is done the week ahead of all of the major conference tournaments. So come on up and enjoy some great basketball. And as Bob said in the end of the postgame, don't take Saturday for granted. It's going to be the old battle for purple supremacy in that 8:30 game between Furman and Western Carolina. And let's make sure that we've got the place packed with the right shade of purple. Let's get a bunch of Paladin fans in the Asheville Civic Center on Saturday. Tickets are available. Check it out at FurmanPaladins.com, or you can get them through the Asheville Civic Center's website. And there's all sorts of information on the Southern Conference website about tickets and hotels and everything else. Bottom line is we need a bunch of people there. So let's do what we can. All right, before we step out to break, let me remind you about our friends at Hall's Chop House, located in downtown Greenville, right beside the 7 on Main studio. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility, 2 stories, and fantastic food. As you know, I've been telling you for a number of months now about the spread that Hall's Chop House puts out when you go order there. Billy and his staff do a phenomenal job of taking care of their customers. The Allen Brothers Prime Steaks are the star of the menu, and then so many other things fall into place right under that. You just need to experience it for yourself. Angela and I did. We had a window table on the 2nd story overlooking that part of the city. It was a gorgeous night. The meal was fantastic, and we had enough to take home between the 2 of us for an entirely separate meal later on. So it was a good day all around. They're open 7 nights a week for dinner, open for brunch on Sundays, live music all the time. It's Hall's Chop House, the Greenville Steakhouse in downtown Greenville. Please tell them you heard about them here on the show. All right, when we come back, we will let you hear from Jackie Carson, the women's head coach at Furman, and show you the women's bracket in Asheville for the Southern Conference Tournament. Also this weekend, they'll be running in conjunction with one another. All that still ahead as we continue right after this. Don't go away.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
Life's healthier when you're backed by a Greenville Health System primary care doctor. Because then, the doctor that has your back is backed by the more than 1,000 physicians and specialists at the region's leading health system, all working together to bring you the right care in the right place at the right time. Great health starts with a GHS primary care doctor, and there are more than 200 of them conveniently located throughout the upstate, ready to see you. Find yours today at ghs.org/mydoctor.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the U.S. Cellular Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 1st through 5th for the 2018 SoCon Basketball Championships presented by General Shale. Watch your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament, and take part in exciting events like the Downtown Dribble and the Ingalls Jam Fest. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the U.S. Cellular Center box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
Scott here on this Monday, wrapping up a weekend, and man, what a weekend it was for Furman Athletics to spend a huge segment on the men's basketball team. We're going to let you hear from Jackie Carson here in just a moment, but first a reminder about our friends at Ridge Media. Kenny and the gang there are a one-stop shop based in Greenville that does logo, print, and website design, as well as search engine optimization and marketing. Their clients range from startups to Fortune 500 companies. They're a locally owned marketing firm with offices in both Greenville and Charleston. And if you would like to schedule a free consultation, it will not cost you a dime. They'll come in and tell you exactly what they can do for you. Give Ridge Media a call at 864-354-6175. 864-354-6175 for Ridge Media. And as always, please tell them that you heard about them here on the show. All right. Not only did the men close out the regular season yesterday, but so did Jackie Carson's women's team. You know, they had a blip on the radar screen up at Wofford a number of weeks ago when they got blown out by not a really good Wofford basketball team, if we're going to be, just totally honest about it. Senior day yesterday had a chance for some retribution, if you will, and everything went very, very well. And after it was all said and done, Jackie had some words with Hunter Reed, or I guess for Hunter Reed. That sounded like she had an argument with him, didn't it? Here's Jackie Carson talking with Hunter Reed after the game yesterday. Take a listen. And a watch.
In the last month, I'm proud of our girls. Wofford's a good team. They beat our butts there, and we didn't forget about that. And we did a little bit more preparation. That was on me to make sure that the girls are ready. And they did an outstanding job executing our game plan, especially in the first half. And we knew Wofford was going to fight back, and we just had to withstand the storm.
We had two of your three seniors today in hand. Sierra Carter certainly delivered 18 points, 11 rebounds, and Stephen Ramos 9 points and 9 big assists today.
Oh my gosh, I can't say enough about these girls. Obviously, we were without Deanisha Jackson. He's a huge part of us, and not only just for the rebounding and her scoring abilities, but also because she's like a general, especially with scouting reports. She really bosses everyone around. But Sierra stepped up big and was the scorer that we needed her to be, and grabbed some key rebounds, knocked down some big free throws. And then Steph, I can't say enough about Steph. She's worked so hard to be in the position she is. I'm so happy for her. She led this team, made some key assists, took care of the ball, and really did a great job executing our offense.
Selena Tabor, some quality minutes for you there. You really didn't have the luxury of going to a bench today for Carson. She really stepped up and gave you some points and rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, everyone keys into Selena because of her size and her ability to finish. I think she still leads the league in field goal percentage, and so she's a big part of what we do. And she did a great job of staying composed. Our whole game plan is we knew we couldn't foul this game. We didn't. Our bench was very thin. We have a lot of injuries right now that we're hoping fixes itself by next week. But Selena did a great job rebounding, staying composed, and finishing out strong.
Well, a solid finish to your season, which includes, of course, the sweep of Chattanooga, something that Furman hadn't really enjoyed for 15 years.
Yeah.
So 17 wins, a solid winning season, a lot of momentum heading into the Southern Conference tournament.
Absolutely. I'm excited about the tournament. And, the regular season is great, but it's really about what kind of basketball you're playing in Asheville. So I'm excited to get our girls prepared, give them a chance to enjoy this win against Wofford, see what's going on with the Sanford-Chattanooga game, see where we fall, and then just throw up the basketball next week week in Asheville. But I'm so thankful to all the Furman fans and supporters and everyone who's been with us. We had an outstanding crowd today for our seniors, and I just want to thank everyone in the Furman community for really supporting our girls this year.
All right, that was Jackie Carson after their win over Wofford yesterday. And the men's tournament going on in Asheville this weekend. So is the women's tournament. And here's what the bracket looks like. The Paladins end up with the number 4 seed. And you see there in Game 2, they'll take on Samford in the 4-5 matchup at 1:15 p.m. This is on Thursday, by the way. The first game at 11 a.m. will be the number 1 seed Mercer versus number 8 Western Carolina. Then comes Furman and Samford at 1:15. The Game 3, number 2 seed ETSU, number 7 Wofford at 3:30. And then Game 4, 3rd seed Chattanooga and 6th seed UNCG at 5:45 p.m. On Friday, the morning session will be the women's, and then you'll have the men's play-in. So at 11 a.m., Game 1 winner versus Game 2 winner in the first semi, and in Game 6, it's the second game at 1:15, the Game 3 winner versus the Game 4 winner, and then the championship game is on Sunday. So you've got a day off for the 2 teams that advance, and they'll play at noon on Sunday, and again, that'll be ahead of the men's semifinals there. So look, you go to Asheville starting on Thursday with the women, and you're going to be able to see basketball from Thursday all the way through Monday. It's a good week, and in a place that is not too far away. It's a great arena to watch basketball in. I'm always skeptical of things that the NCAA or sometimes conferences put on, but I've got to tell you, I really enjoy what they've done with this tournament in Asheville. The arena, when they did the makeover on it a number of years ago, they did a really nice job. So from the floor up to the beginning of the second level where they did most of the work, it's got a major arena feel to it, and you're going to see a lot of good basketball. It's not going to cost you a lot of money either. So just remember that. Check it out. Come see the women on Thursday and the men in the opening round on Saturday. Hopefully you'll be seeing the women on Thursday and Friday. That would be fantastic. So we'll keep reminding you of these schedules throughout the course of the week and go from there. All right, let's step aside one more time. We'll come back. We'll talk about some Furman baseball. I have not forgotten spring football practice. We'll mention that and set up some things for later in the week there. And if there's any time left, we'll take a look at some of the other things going on in the world of sports as well. But coming down the home stretch of the Dan Scott Show for a Monday, and we'll return in just a moment. The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherry Dell Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherry Dell Point in Greenville.
Zaxby's food has always brought people together. Catering to the big moments. The little wins. The long talks. And the quick getaways. Because food this inviting is bound to add a lot of flavor to your life.
Introducing the Zax Pack. Served with chicken fingers, sides, Texas toast, and iced tea. Pick one up for dinner or your next event. Friends, family, flavor. Zaxby's. Indescribably good.
I was surprised recently when I learned that Americans spend $80 billion a year on illegal sports gambling. Sure, that's spread out over millions of gamblers, but still it makes you wonder where that money's coming from. Unfortunately, too often it's coming from money that was intended to buy groceries, pay the mortgage, or even put children through college. If gambling's had a negative impact on your life, call the SC Gambling Hotline toll-free at 877-452-5155. Help is confidential and available 24 hours a day. A message from the South Carolina Department of Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Services.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the U.S. Cellular Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 1st through 5th for the 2018 SoCon Basketball Championships presented by General Shale. Watch your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament, and take part in exciting events like the Downtown Dribble and the Ingalls Jam Fest. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the U.S. Cellular Center box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
Welcome back. It's our final segment at 10:50, heading toward the top of the hour. I am Dan Scott. Thanks for joining us. Just a quick reminder before we get too far along about OpSource Staffing, a locally owned, faith-based company that has been providing staffing choices since 2007. They work primarily in what you would call, I guess, manufacturing industry. They employ anybody from pipe fitters to forklift drivers to, I mean, there's a whole litany of things that they do. Bottom line is, you can see their goal there, connecting lives for the better. They want to connect the right people with the right job and make everyone's life better because of it. That's OpSource Staffing. You can find out much more by going to their website, opsourcestaffing.com. Just take what you see right there at the top of that logo, OpSource Staffing, add .com to it, and it'll take you right there. And thank them for joining us here on the program. All right, I just mentioned in the Facebook comments section that Brett Harker's ears must be burning because he popped in there a moment ago, and we're getting ready to talk about his Furman baseball team. It was a tough weekend for the Paladins up in Raleigh, and I would imagine in a lot of ways a little frustrating because the team played well at times. You know, and really in all three games, we're in the game through the middle portion of the game, and then things got away after that, especially in games 1 and 2 of the series. Still haven't gotten the offense cranking yet, and that's going to come. You know, Landon Kay went 0 for his first 17 before he finally got his first hit of the season, which drove in a run on Saturday. And isn't it funny how baseball works? You know, you're struggling. He was 0 for 16 at the time. He steps to the plate. He hits a rocket at the third baseman, who takes one step to his left, reaches over his head, and makes the play. And so he's 0 for 17. And then the next time he comes up, he hits one off the end of the bat and dunks it down the right field line. Didn't hit it anywhere nearly as well as he did the previous time, but that was the one that fell in for the base hit. So, look, the kid's too good of a hitter. We know that he's going to get things straightened out. And this is a tough stretch for the Paladins. I mean, let's be honest. You're trying to, at the beginning of the season, develop young players. You're doing it with some injuries in various spots, especially a couple of places in the pitching staff that you were not expecting when the season opened. And oh, by the way, after the 3-game sweep of Marist, you're doing it against Clemson, 3 against North Carolina State, and tomorrow against South Carolina. So you're playing Power 5 conference teams in this 5-game stretch. Not that you expect to win any less in that, but looking at it big picture from a realistic standpoint, you know those are going to be super challenging games at this juncture of the season as you're trying to get guys adjusted to roles, trying to get newcomers integrated into the program, and getting everybody in tune and ready to go. And that's what the preseason is for. After tomorrow's game at South Carolina, then you get back into what you call, quote-unquote, your own level to a certain degree when you play Central Connecticut State. Oh, by the way, another NCAA tournament team coming in for 3 this weekend. But that starts a stretch of games between Friday, which is March the 2nd, and March the 21st, I believe, where the Paladins will play everything at home, home being Latham Stadium or Fluor Field at the West End, except for one game at Winthrop. So they're going to have an opportunity to really get comfortable at home, to get some consistency going during this stretch, and then go on the road at the end of March to Wichita State. And I'll be very interested to see what this team looks like when they go out there. I think it's the 23rd, 4th, and 5th, or 24th, 5th, and 6th, whatever the weekend is, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be really interested to see what they look like in that series as compared to, say, this weekend at NC State. They'll have a litany of games under their belt, and they'll have a long stretch, as I said, of playing games at home, either Latham or a couple at Fluor Field, and only having to go on the road for one game to visit Tom Reginas and his Winthrop club. This is going to be a time for some guys to really start settling into a groove. And, of course, just when you think you've got things figured out, all you have to do is look at a season ago when they got off to a good start, then lost 9 in a row and 17 out of 20, and then at the drop of a hat, things turned and won 20 of their final 26 games heading into the Southern Conference tournament. And I think that even included some SoCon tournament play. So, look, these are growing pains this team is going to have. The veterans are going to start performing better. Let's see what they look like at the end of this month. Let's bookmark this, and let's have this comparative conversation after the Wichita State series, after they've played this long stretch of games mostly at home, and have a chance to start getting some consistency at the plate, on the mound, hopefully getting some guys back. And then let's have the conversation and see what it looks like after the Wichita State series. I'm looking forward to this stretch coming up. And as I said, and Brett will be happy with this, at least I hope he's happy with this. If not, I guess I've got some issues that I didn't know I had. But because of the way things broke from a basketball standpoint, we will not miss any baseball this weekend. And this probably is the first time in now my 7th season here that we have not missed at least one game of a weekend series that coincided with the Southern Conference basketball tournament in Asheville. But it works out great because by virtue of finishing 3rd, making the top 6, basketball does not play on Friday, so we'll have the Friday broadcast as always. Saturday's baseball game is at 1 o'clock. Basketball doesn't play until 8:30 in the quarterfinal round, so we'll be doing double duty there. And then Sunday, if basketball moves on as we expect, that's a 6:30 game, which normally might cause an issue, but I'm assuming Central Connecticut State has a flight they have to catch, so the first pitch for Sunday's game is 11:30. So we'll have baseball at 11:30 and then basketball at 6:30, and then hopefully we'll be doing basketball again on Monday. So that would be a championship game appearance. It's going to be fun. It's hectic. I'm hoping that we're going to have schedule conflicts with some pretty significant postseason. Tom and I were talking again yesterday. You have a lot of time in the vehicle traveling back and forth, and even working at what I call the quote unquote this level, and getting started late in my broadcasting career from a Division I play-by-play standpoint. I didn't get started until I was 37 years old, I think is how old I was. Did I say that? That seems like it's so young now. But the first year I did Clemson women and the first baseball season, which was the baseball season of 2005. Even at that, and if you take in my time as a sports writer as well, as a sports writer, I've covered a college football national championship game between Nebraska and Miami. I have broadcasted FCS playoff games. I have broadcasted regional, super regional, and College World Series baseball games. So kind of the only thing missing is an NCAA tournament basketball appearance, and that would be phenomenal if we could add that to the resume this year. I'm extremely blessed to be able to do all these things and do it in a place that I love. I say that all the time, #love my job. With that, today's job is done. We will be back with you tomorrow. We'll be in studio. We will start talking a little bit about the wrap-up of spring football. Purple and white game was on Saturday. We'll get some folks who were there to kind of give us some reviews of that, and hopefully talk to Clay Hendricks. And now that that's over, also make another effort to get the newest addition to his coaching staff, Connor Shaw, on with us as well. And a lot of basketball and a lot of baseball. It's going to be a busy, busy week in studio, and we're looking forward to every single minute of it. You folks have a fantastic day, and we will see you again tomorrow, same time and same place. Until then, I'm Dan Scott. So long, everybody. We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time.